NBC 10 News Today.
This morning in an NBC 10 exclusive, we're giving you an inside look at the Wynn Parish Correctional Center, showing you what it is like in the day of a life of an ICE detainee.
And a grim discovery in Caterpillar Parish leads to an investigation. We'll share what was found and what we know so far about the disturbing case.
Plus, we are learning more about the person found dead on ULM's campus. We'll tell you what we know so far. Good morning, folks. It is now 6 a.m., a fine Friday morning indeed. I'm Bodie Brooks.
And I'm Adam McAllister, filling in for Randy Ayala this morning.
That's right. Good morning, folks, and thanks for tuning in on NBC 10. Lexi Birmingham has been watching our forecast for us all morning long. How are you?
I'm doing good, and it's a beautiful start to our day. I mean, we were just commenting during the break how amazing it feels outside, very fall-like. If only that would carry over into the afternoon. I
have to agree. It must be nice for all of our early risers across the Arklamas this morning to be stepping out in some nice cool temperatures, but they're not going to be lasting long, are they, Lexi?
No, definitely not. It's going to be a rather gradual but quick warm-up into the afternoon hours. Temperatures already getting up to 88 degrees by the lunch hour, and we are expected to top out in the lower to middle 90s by around 2 to 4 o'clock this afternoon. But our skies this morning have been off to a great start. Maybe just a few light clouds off towards the east. Currently, temperatures here in West Monroe starting off at 66. Dew Point very comfortable at 64. And we're not seeing any wind just yet. That is your forecast first.
Well, what was once a prison has been transformed into a facility for ICE detainees. The Wynn Parish Correctional Center struck a deal with the federal government and the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, just 4 months ago.
And yesterday, I had a chance to get an exclusive tour at the facility to show you what it's like in the day of a life of an ICE detainee. It is our top story. Behind the gates of the Freedom Church are more than 200 men praising God. It's a tall, white chapel with beautiful fuchsia flowers meticulously lined up the walkway. The Freedom Church is a place of worship. A place of worship inside the Wynn Parish Correctional Center, a facility that currently holds nearly 1,500 ICE detainees. We're taking you on an exclusive tour behind the gates of the Wynn Parish Correction Center to show you a day in the life of an ICE detainee. In the courtyard, dozens of men walking towards the gates as they see our cameras. They're all sporting the same dark blue uniform, many wearing the signature orange jailhouse slides. But officials who run this facility say the life of these ICE detainees is far from the life of a prisoner.
This is not a punitive detention. This is an administrative process, and we provide the highest levels of service to our population, consistent with ICE's detention standards, which in the industry are the gold standard.
As we walk through the massive facility, we see that proclaimed gold standard at work. There's a wing specifically designated for medical treatment. 2 permanent doctors are assigned to the facility, and 1 is always on call.
We offer the broadest range in activities.
Facility officials say these detainees have 4 hours of recreation a day. That can be spent doing a number of things, like playing soccer, volleyball, or trying their hand at air hockey. Sutterfield says one of the misconceptions is that these detainees are treated poorly.
The level of care and custody to our population is paramount. We pride ourselves on more of an open compound concept.
Sutterfield says though there is structure to an ICE detainee's day, they have much more freedom than the public understands. He says while detainees usually stay from 30 to 45 days, they have the opportunity to communicate with their families every day if they choose. And Sheriff Cranford Jordan wants Wynn Parish residents to understand these detainees are not criminals.
These are strictly detainees, have not been convicted of a violent crime.
ICE, the federal government, and Wynn Parish struck a deal back in May to house over 1,000 illegal immigrants. The facility is paid $70 a day per inmate by the federal government. Sheriff Jordan says the deal has been an opportunity for tremendous growth in the parish.
The employees were originally making $10 an hour, and with us holding ICE detainees, $10 went to $18.44 an hour. This money is going back into our community.
We caught up with locals to see how they feel about having hundreds of illegal immigrants housed in their neighborhood. The response was pretty positive.
I feel like if it evolves as it has been presented to us, I think it'll be good. Before those came in, we had murderers and people with mental issues. These have not necessarily committed dangerous crimes, but they're there until their case is adjudicated, so what's the difference?
Sheriff Jordan says the population at the facility is fluid and that dozens of ICE detainees are released or transferred daily while dozens more arrive. And the Catahoula Parish Sheriff's Office responded to a call Wednesday about an animal that had been shot and left on a man's property. That man called the Catahoula Parish Sheriff's Office after spotting a 2.5-year-old male deer that was shot in the roadway near his property. When detectives arrived, they located the carcass in a ditch alongside Highway 913. The head of the animal had been cut off and the body was left to ruin. Detectives say the deer was shot for the sole purpose of its antlers. Both Perkins and the Sheriff's Department are determined to find out the individual who's responsible. Perkins also has offered a $1,500 award for the arrest.
I hate that. It gives hunters a bad name. People who don't hunt see that and think people are just trophy hunters and that's all they're after is antlers, and that's not the case. As far as the law is concerned, they should be fined a lot of money and have their license taken away, in my opinion.
If you have any information, you can contact the Catahoula Parish Sheriff's Office at 318-744-5411 and ask to speak with Detective Ben Adams.
2 news update now, where the cause of death has been determined for the woman found dead on ULM's campus. According to officials, the cause of death has been ruled a suicide. The woman is the 35-year-old resident of Monroe. She was found unresponsive near the dock at Bayou Park just before 7 a.m. on Monday. The registrar's office confirms that she was not enrolled at the university. ULM says counseling services are available to students, faculty, staff, and the community.
And still to come on NBC 10 News today, as we roll into the weekend, we're answering the question, what is there to do?
That's right. We'll talk with the CVB next with their insider on all things to do around the Twin Cities this weekend. But first, here's Lexi with your CommuteCast.
And we've been talking about the temperatures. As you step out the door, it's going to feel very, very comfortable. And even our road conditions are going to be very nice this morning as well. However, these temperatures and road conditions, the road conditions will start to pick up just a little bit, but we're not seeing any kind of traffic jams as of yet. But the temperatures are going to slowly warm up into the lower to middle 90s by later on this afternoon. And even though it's been less humid, just remember to keep in mind your heat safety tips. We'll have all the details coming up in your complete forecast. You're watching NBC 10 News today.